Peace and blessings. This is Yasha Ben Israel for the Yasha Ben Israel Israelite Thought Channel. I'm listening to the songs of Evangelist Higgins. And she wrote that song years ago. When she recorded that song has been re-recorded and revamped over the years. And I made a vow to the Lord and I won't take it back. I made a vow to the Lord and I won't take it back. It was a holy, holy vow and I won't take it back. It was a sanctified vow and I won't take it back. Down on my knees, I made that vow and I promise that I won't take it back. And throughout the years, there was revamps, remakings of that song. And I once heard another rendition where they added, Lord, help me to keep my vow so that I won't take it back. Lord, help me to keep my vow so that I won't take it. And that's my sentiments and that's my prayers today. I remember years ago, over 40 years ago, I made a vow to the Lord. Got down on my knees and I made that vow. And I've asked the Lord several times, and even on today, to help me keep that vow. Now, that vow was to the Lord, right? That vow wasn't to a religion. It wasn't to an organization. It wasn't to a race. It wasn't to a family, right? It wasn't to a brotherhood. I made a vow to the Lord. It wasn't to a church. It wasn't to a temple or none of this stuff. I made a vow to the Lord. And to this day, 53, 52 years of my existence, and I still said that I won't take it back. Now I'm talking about some things that I didn't understand when I was young about this vow. You know, when I first made this vow, I was a Christian and I was in the Christian church. And I would have thought that that vow would have been to the Lord Jesus or to the Christian church or even to the Hebrew Israelite movement. But no, I made a vow to Yahweh God. And that vow I would not take back. I'm asking the Lord, help me to keep this vow. Help me, because there's those of people out here who don't care about that vow, right? And they hope that I break that vow. They want to see me break that vow. And that vow is to the Lord thy God. Today I've learned that it is heathenism that I have made that vow to the Lord that I won't go back to. I thought it was sin, right? But I learned that concept when I was in Christianity. And it was Christians that were sinning just as much secretly and hiddenly as the sinners was, you know. So I had to learn what was sin, what was right, and what was wrong. And I learned that scripture, and I learned the way of the Lord and the prophets of Israel. I learned that it was what the prophets said that was the keys to righteousness and holiness. You know, it was what the prophets and what the scriptures and what the word of God said that was the key, right? That was the apparatus for righteousness and holiness. So I began to study these scriptures and I began to learn about right, wrong, good, bad, Jew, Gentile, you know, the devil, God, Satan, Lucifer. I began to learn a lot just by reading the scriptures, right? Oh, yes, I did. And what I have learned is that when you look up the word heathen, the word heathen is rooted in the people that dwelt and lived in the heath. The root word of heathen is heath. They lived in the heaths and marshes of the UK, what is known as the UK today, Ireland, Scotland, England, right? And when you look at the history, and at the time of in this history, that these people that were called heathens, they were none other than your Anglo-Saxons and your Germanics, your Goths, your Jutes, your Ostrogoths, Visigoths, you know, your Burgundians, your Vikings, you know, your Scandinavians, you know, all of the Germanic tribes and hordes that made their way into the heaths of what now is called the UK. Those were the people that history recorded as heathens. And today, these people would be none other than your Anglo-Saxons and your Europeans or your so-called white people of America, right? In England, Spain, and France. You dig? Now, that's what the heathen is. And the heath was those marshes and heaths that they lived upon, right? So heathenism would be the way of life that was practiced in the heaths amongst the heathens. Heathenism is the lifestyle of the heathen. Heathenism is not the lifestyle of the Israelite. It's not the lifestyle of the saint. It's not the lifestyle of the prophet. It's not the lifestyle of God. Heathen and pagan, they tell you that these words are synonymous, but they're not quite as synonymous. Because when you're dealing with heathen, you're talking about a specific pagan, right? A specific kind of pagan. Yes. The heathen is pagan. But you're dealing with a specific kind of pagan, which is your Anglo-Saxon pagans that dwelt in the heaths, in the marshes of Western Europe, the UK. And it is that lifestyle that I've made a vow to the Lord that I don't ever want to go back to. I don't ever want to go back to the eating of pork and the touching of pork. The scripture said, don't eat the swine, don't consume him. Don't consume him, don't eat him, don't buy him. Neither should you touch his carcass. And I made a vow to the Lord that I wasn't going to do that anymore. Because when I was introduced into this world, my mother and my father and her mother and her father and my father's mother and my father's father, and all the way on back, they taught us that the eating of swine was food. You know, that it was good, that the bacon and eggs and sausage. Remind me of the movie Sonder I watched when I was in school, where that man got killed for stealing some damn sausage. Prosecuted and hunted down like a dog. Yes, he did. For stealing some sausage, because they had them people eating slop. He just wanted just to be able to feed his family one time, a good heathen meal, because the sausages was that which the heathens ate. That was the heathens' delicatessen. That being stated, I'm talking about heathenism. You know, your diet, your way of thinking, your very language, the very English language, the way you dress. You know, I always thought about, you know, when I was in the Pentecostal church, how the Pentecostals always bragged about how they dress different from the world. But really, they don't. That's the reason why they secretly carry on the sins of the world and repeat the sins of the world, because they dress like the heathens, just like the world do, because they don't dress like the Israelites dressed. They don't dress like the prophets dressed, or even of a moderate nature. They dress just like the heathen. Suits, ties. That's no different or no more or less heathen than the skimpy clothes that the rappers wear, the female rappers wear, or being scantily clad. All of that is a part of heathenism. You know, not respecting gender. You know, where men don't stand in their masculinity, and the females are bent on snatching their masculinity from them. All of that is heathenism. These are practices that you've learned from the Euro-Gentile, the white man, the Anglo-Saxon, or the British American, the English American, the French American, and the Spanish Americans. It is their lifestyle that you consume. It is their education that you honor. It is their a way of life in their street culture that you admire. But all of that stuff is heathenism. And that is what I've made a vow to the Lord that I'm not going to go back to. I think love the words of that song where that lady sung, Evangelist Higgins, that is. She said, Lord, help me to keep my vow. Being that I am the first African American in my bloodline after slavery that has made this Israelite vow to the God of Israel, there's people in my family that don't respect that vow and would love to see me break that vow, you know? And that's just my own family, people. They don't believe in the God of Israel. They believe that Jesus is the God of the world. They believe Jesus is superior to Yahweh, the God of Israel. And Christianity is superior to the chosen people of the Jews, of God. There's not Israelite or a godly holy text in the world to support that. The texts that you show me, New Testament and Quranic texts that you claim to be holy, are only holy to the Jew or the Christian that propagate that information, and never holy to the Jew, which was the first person known as the Kadashim, the holy, the righteous. You see, now what righteousness means in this set of Hebrewism and this way of life doesn't mean righteous in the sense of just doing right. You know, righteousness means upright, like upstanding, doing good. You know, not you could do right and be evil. You could do right and be mean. When we talking about Zodak, righteousness, Zodaki. You know, just being an upstanding human being. Decent. It's more than just being right. You could be in school and get the right answer and be an evil person. You could be the smartest kid in the classroom, but you could be the bully as well. You see? I've seen that happen, especially here in Detroit. So it's not about being right in the Anglo-Saxon sense of right, but the Hebrew sense of being right, which is just being a stand-up, upstanding human being, a decent human being, one that doesn't appreciate the lies. And we talk about lies. You talk diet. When you telling me that the cooking and the eating of pork is good, that's a lie. And I can't stand for that lie. I don't care if my mother eats it or my sister eats it or my daughter eats it. Because I didn't raise my daughter to eat it. I raised my daughter on the laws and commandments of God. My daughter may have gotten older and went with some pagan heathen guy, and he resorted her back into heathenism because she did not seek an Israelite man. I mean, it is what it is. But because women in my family, they easily get sucked into Hebrewism. And they are the ones who head the households in my family. But for some reason or another, they run the men off. And then now you left with this woman to raise this young black African American man with all the tenets of Anglo-Saxon heathenism and the values of the heathen. But it is that lifestyle that I've made a vow to the Lord. And I'm not taking it back. I don't want to be a heathen. I don't want to live the way that the white man lived. His way of life is not the greatest life for me to live. His way of thinking, what he calls success, is not what I call success. What I call success is for me to learn music, to be able to play music, then 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 learn how to write music and record music, then make a living off of music and produce good music to the world and to live and get wealthy off of doing good music. See, that's success, you know. Whether I go into publishing or whether I start my own record label, then that's a greater success to me. Success to me is not signing a European's record label and don't have half the talent. You didn't write nothing. You didn't publish nothing. You don't own nothing. You just throwing your voice behind a beat that you didn't create. And you make millions of dollars off the backs of many, many people. Stolen ideas, stolen whole projects and music and scores. You ain't do nothing for it. Just signed away and just got all of the fake streams and all of that's and everybody look at you as this fake star. Like today, you all these guys out here getting these records and they getting all these millions of dollars, but they ain't got no product. See, ain't nothing selling. You know, you're not selling. What you're selling, a stream? What are you selling? Something on a sound bite? We had whole records, albums, tapes, CDs that costed, that was material, that our name sold, that generated millions of dollars. Today, these people ain't doing nothing. They get fake YouTube views, fake overhyped, fake views on Instagram. I mean, all this bots and all of this stuff is just fake. You know, that's the European idea of success because he said that's what success is. The very reason why we looking at Puff Daddy as a successful businessman and one of the most successful blacks in American history. Certainly by the dollar amount, we can say so. But what did he do to do it? He did a whole bunch of sexual deviancy and a whole bunch of crimes and a whole bunch of wicked stuff that had nothing to do with music to get that money, people. And you call that success? See, that's the heathenism that I've made a vow to the Lord that I'm not going back to because I had my own record company, own record label, but the industry I did not own. And the industry will make it be known that they don't want you in it unless you become as heathen and pagan as the best. The industry don't want you in it. I remember telling Neo Love some years ago, oh man, you doing that positive rap? Oh man, you're good. You're great, man. I love it. Sorry, you'll never make it. Because they don't want that in corporate America. You understand what I'm saying? I know I made like 9 albums of conscious music, and ain't none of them went nowhere. But all of the little sad rappers that I had doing verses and all the musicians and all of the background people that all of the people blow it up. Half of them rich right now to this day, and they all got their start off me. But the industry say I ain't good enough. And I taught the guys who you look up to. I open the door for them. You know, I open the door for the Cheddar Boys. The Cheddar Boys open the door for every hot rapper in the city of Detroit today. I could have the Cheddar Boys. Cheddar Boys is on my show. You can go back and look at the video on the video section where I got P Frown. P Frown was one of my homies from the Cheddar Boys. I got music that I've done with those guys. You know, out because as I was leaving out the game, they was coming in. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they open up the door, and I open up the door for them, and they open up the door for everybody. You see, but I'm not good enough. You know, when it comes to this Israelite shit, right? I open up the door for all of you all here today. All. Man, I've been doing this stuff since the 80s, man. And that's a fact, bro. It's a fact. Certainly in all of the 90s. And I open up the door, but you Israelites won't even let me on your channel. But you wonder why I got love for guys like Sonetta. Y'all wonder why I got love for guys like DMG. People who don't claim to be Israelites but have enough respect for me to see my light and to allow me to just speak or to just hold the spot on their channel. But you got those Israelites who would not even want to even have a biblical conversation with Yashab in Israel. They don't, because what they want to do is lie to the world that they got the ultimate truth. And you got your Israelites out here that know that sitting right next to me that their cover will be blown. It will be discovered that you are not that truth speaker that you're lying and projecting yourself to be to the world. You know, I was listening to the last video I did with the UPK Gans guy. You know, and this this the reason why I don't really like doing talking to or just dealing with ISUPK people. Whether you was from any of those camps, if you ever been affected by any of those camps, I really don't want nothing to do with you. Trust me, you are just as brainwashed as kooky as you come. I mean, because you guys swept it down. Or what you guys don't understand is that your ISUPK today is a knockoff from another group. And they left that group because of corruption. When they left that group, they should have left his teachings and all of that. Because if he's a false prophet, then everything that he say is a lie. And you should leave that group and leave and kick the dust off of your feet. When Jesus said, "Kick the dust," Yeshua, Yahweh Shai, whatever you want to call him, when he tell you to shake the dust off your feet, that means leave that place and don't carry nothing up out of that place that you did not come up in there with. Don't you carry the dust. Don't you carry the dust on your feet out of that place with you. Be clean. Leave all that mess in that place. That's what Yeshua told you to do. And you One West guys don't do that. You get mad at the One West leaders, and then you take the same lie that the false prophet lied to you about, and then you start your own code again. And then you get mad, and then you run around here mad. I mean, it ain't no just UPK Gans. I mean, it's Gorilla Hebrew. He's going through that shit right now with the deacon, and but he went through it with his GMS leaders. His GMS leaders went through it with REI. It's just a perpetual cycle of fucking madness, people. All because somebody wants to live the heathen lifestyle. Support the damn lies. Support the wickedness. The Israelites have succumbed to heathenism. Anytime you run around here uplifting the King James goddamn Bible and you call yourself a Hebrew Israelite, is a catastrophe. And I just got to say it. Because the Hebrew Bible is the Hebrew Bible. And the Hebrew Bible and the King James Bible are two different things, baby. Most Israelites are ignorant in Hebrew, and they shun the Hebrew books of the prophets, which means that they must not be of those people. Certainly not for them. You disrespect the oldest writings that can be traced back to the children of Israel. You want to delineate these writings and decline these writings, put them in a state of declination, just so you can have a reason to uplift a book that came about 1,000 fucking years later. Ridiculous. Because that's heathenism. The brother get on here talking about, I was listening to him and I was telling him some things that he didn't know. And he'll say, well, I don't know about that. See, when he say he don't know about that, that should be his cue to shut the fuck up and learn about it. Because I'm telling you what the problem is that what you don't know. Didn't the Bible tell you my people perish for their lack of knowledge? My people are destroyed for what they do not know, their lack of knowledge. And it's a perpetual. I mean, the thing I'm trying to introduce him. I went through all of that thing. When you go back and listen to the video again, I was telling him about the One West groups and how they are a fallacious group. And he took fallacious to be a conjugation of the word Pharisee and went all off into this Pharisee lane based off what he thought that I was saying something about the Pharisees. No, I'm teaching you about logic, brother. Right. And I'm talking about these people are fallacious. Now, you're talking about Pharisees. So I had to break down to him these different branches and groups of Pharisees because I know that if I'm talking about that these people are fallacious group and he think I mean Pharisees, then obviously he don't know nothing about fallacies or Pharisees. So I began to teach him about the Pharisees because there's everything that everybody do that you see today. 90% of the world today are influenced by the teaching of the Hasidic and the Pharisees. Christianity is surely influenced by the Pharisees. If it's not influenced by the Sadducees, you best believe that. The Sadducees couldn't stand Jesus or his movement. The Pharisees, they you look at them and you read in the dialogue, they were all sympathizers. Why? Because Christianity stole a lot of tenets from the Pharisees. The life after death, the resurrection, all of that stuff was Pharisee teaching. That stuff was not ancient Israelite teaching. It wasn't. There's paganism mixed in there. Heathenism. Got a little sprinkling of wrong in it. Got to be mixed up and a little tainted with a little dirt. It can't be 100% the truth. If the words is true, then the ideology got to be distorted. You take the books of a black person, you tell them the words are true, but then you tell them that all the people is white. Just heathenism, people. We were destroyed for our lack of knowledge. We perish for our lack of knowledge. It is for the things that we do not know, and worse, the things that we refuse to know, that will perpetuate our destruction. And that is my gripe with the Israelite camps, is that they perpetuate our demise. They perpetuate our destruction by giving us lacking knowledge, lacking information. And you ain't got to believe me, but that's what they're doing. Many have said in their organization, like Nate, for instance, right? And many others talked about, the guys from GMS talked about it, I think Ricard talked about it once or twice, about the taking of the bag when the Rosicrucians came in, the white man, the Masons, the Illuminati came in and infiltrated that group a long time ago. Told them that they'll give them any amount of money that they produce a more Christian doctrine. And when you look at their doctrine compared to all the other Israelite doctrines, It is a very, very Christian doctrine. These people have the One West camps and all their knockoff and splinter groups have pretty much turned the Israelite movement into candy-coated Christianity. While they're lying, presenting this front, right, that they are at war with Christianity. They're not at war with Christianity. They are Christians. They just conniving Christians and don't want to boost up membership the right way. They want to take the membership of Christians and pastors and preachers who worked hard to build a membership. They want to just go over there and just take people members from them. You know what I'm saying? Instead of build their own membership. Because the ISUPK and all of those splinter groups, though none of the people, the people don't have a long, what they call, they have a high turnover rate. 5, 6 years. Don't nobody stay in them groups more than 10 years. You know, I mean, this is the reason why when you listen to UP Gans, when he came over, he talked about how they allowed him to be in this group for 2 years. And in 2 years, he said for all the hard work that he put in 2 years, that he became a captain. That's just like me saying, of all the hard work I put in at this college, I became a doctor in 4 years. Fucking possible. Because you got medical school that you got to go to after that. You know, after you do your 4 years, then you got to, actually, you're not even going to do 4 years. You're probably going to get a master's degree. You certainly ain't going to do it with a doctor's with a bachelor's. You got to get your master's degree, maybe a doctorate degree. Yeah, you got to get your doctorate degree. You got to do 8 years. And then you got to do like 8 more years of medical school. There's no fucking way, people. It's just ridiculous, you know. I was trying to teach this guy things that he did not know. And I felt the need to tell him about this Pharisee thing because I was not talking about Pharisees. I was talking about the group was logically fallacious, not the group were logical Pharisees. And that's how he took that. And that's really dumb. It's like you got to dumb yourself all the way down to talk to these people. And you got to talk to them beneath them, you know, in order for them to pay attention to you. And it's kind of slick how Hassad used that tactic with Tazariak. He's a much smarter and intelligent person than Tazariak, but he just talked down and real passive to Tazariak until he got up under there and hit him with the juggler. You know, this was the debate they did the other day about this New Testament stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, and I had to take my hat off to Sakari because the message that they're bringing forth is a solid message that all New Testament Israelites are going to hate you for. Because you're telling the truth. If you wasn't telling the truth, you would not have been able to embarrass Tazariak like you did. And many of these guys that y'all hang around with, like guys on Sinetta, they'll tell you that you didn't beat Tazariak. But if you want to know if you beat Tazariak, all you got to do is go look up the video. There's several people who watched it, several people who recapped it, and not one person, not even ISUPG, came and supported Tazariak. And Tazariak got on there and tried to make it like it was some old slick shit, duh. But that was not. Tazariak got embarrassed fair and square. That's because he's following the teaching of that heathen and they and that heathen contract that those guys been offered to, man. Those guys millionaires, man. They millionaires. They took that check. They took that check. You know, and I'll never, ever, ever stop saying this, but hey, right now, we are in the height. We're like in the belly, in the deepest part of our captivity, right? And at this part of our captivity as African Americans and or Israelites, we are at a point of a great awakening. Many people have been woken up, right? But once we wake them up, the only people that they'll have to go to is the lying, disingenuous, devilish, satanic camps. Ignoring the truth camps. Heathen shit. This is why I said I made a vow to the Lord, and I ain't going back to no heathenism. I don't care if a million, if 10 trillion Israelites rebrand heathenism under the name of Israel. I'm not going back to heathenism. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going back to be a heathen. I don't give a damn who don't like it. You know, like I said, in my lifetime, my family members didn't like it. My mother didn't like it. My daddy didn't like it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of people didn't like it, man. I didn't give a fuck because I'm the nigga that take care of me. I'm the one that's when I'm hurt, gotta go to the hospital. You know, you could never possibly love me more than I love you. Yeah, so that's what it is, man. That's what it is. Heathenism. How I made my vow to the Lord, and I'm not going back to none of that bull crap. I just not. Yeah, life is just such a beautiful life when you live a life that's not filled with lies. You know, life is a beautiful thing. You know, when you live the life that's not fueled or even entertained by stealing and murder, drugs, killing people, and self hatred. That's what my people got. And I don't have it to give to them. That be stated, Yasha Ben Israel for the Israelite Thought Channel. I'm out. Peace.